Hey, my name's Aaron. If you are watching this video, then it's probably because you are like me and you bought a Sony or a Panasonic camcorder back in 2010 or thereabouts, and you want to batch convert thousands of 1080 HD interlaced AVCHD MTS files into a 1080 HD progressive in an mp4 format without losing any quality at all. I can show you how to do this, and I can show you how to do it using open source free software, and the results will be outstanding. I've tried this with all of the little apps they got out there, like Handbrake even. Handbrake is usually pretty good, but I did not have good results with Handbrake. The best I could find was this program that I'm going to show you. So if you've tried to set up a home media server like Plex, for example, then here's Plex. Then you probably tried to stream some of your older MTS files that you were imported into Plex to a mobile device like an iPad or something, and you've noticed that it either doesn't play at all or the playback quality is pretty bad. Part of the problem is that these old MTS videos are interlaced, like I said, instead of progressive. So some playback software does a really poor job of deinterlacing the files, or it doesn't even support deinterlacing at all, which I think is the case with Plex right now. Maybe they'll fix it in the future. I don't know. But oh, by the way, interlacing was used for playback on cathode ray tube TVs and computer monitors. But we don't have those anymore. We've got LCD TVs and LCD computer monitors. You can see on this one I've got deinterlacing disabled, so you can see what it looks like. And then on this one, this is progressive, so you can see you don't have any of that tearing. But, you know, I decided that rather than try to go find something other than Plex that supports deinterlacing, why not just convert the files so that they're progressive and I don't have to worry about finding an application that supports it. Also, too, one thing I've noticed with the H.264 codec that is used by these AVCHD MTS files is that even though it's widely recognized and used in everything these days, there's something slightly off about it when I try to stream them to mobile devices. And when I use the conversion program that I'm going to show you, ffmpeg, that it converts it to a slightly different H.264 codec, and it looks much better. So you can see here, this is the original MTS. It's using H.264, but it's got this H.264 in parentheses. When you convert it with ffmpeg, it's got this AVC1. I'm not really sure what that means or if it even really is part of the solution to help the streaming go better, but I've found that it made a big difference. So I guess we can go ahead and get started with doing an actual conversion. First, let me show you where to get ffmpeg. So if you come here, if I could type. Go to download. I'm running Windows, obviously, so I'll come here, go to the mirror. Scroll down a bit till you see the releases. They're all the same, doesn't matter, just click one. It'll download it. By the way, you'll probably need to install 7-zip or WinRAR to get this opened. But once you've got it, just extract it. I always put it in the in the program files folder. And you can see it's right there. Next thing I do is I come over here. That just makes it easier for command line. And then I come over here and I copy this executable that we're going to use out of the bin. I just put it in the ffmpeg root directory. Then the other thing that you're going to want to do is, this is what they say is part of the installation process. Right click on this PC, go to Properties, Advanced System Settings, Environment Variables, come down here to Path, and then you're going to want to add this in here. You'll just click on New, add the directory that you put it in, and then I just click Move Up until it gets to the top. Hit OK. From what I understand, you can just type ffmpeg in the command line and it'll know where it's located. So we're done with that. So that's it. ffmpeg is installed. So now all we got to do is create a couple folders on the desktop. I created one called Original, and then I created another one called Converted. And this is the converted folders where the mp4s that I create are going to go. And here you can put in all of your MTS files. By the way, you don't have to do this if you've got all of your files already located, maybe on a server on your network. You can do the same thing. You just use the path to your network directory rather than the directory on your local computer. And so what you do is you create a batch file. By the way, here's how you create one. You just create a new text file, a new text document, and you'll put the batch script in there. I'll show you how to do it. Save it, and then you come down here and you name it and change the file extension from .text to .bat, and there it is. So that's how you create one. So I've already got one created here, so I'll right click and edit so you can see what it looks like. And all it's doing is it's saying to Windows that since we could have potentially thousands of these, we're going to use a variable to tell it that, hey, I want you to do this for every single MTS file in this particular directory. There's going to be a folder with many, and it'll just do for every single one. It'll run the ffmpeg program. Here's all the options that we've selected. We're telling it to include every single MTS file in that directory was specified here, and that we want to do deinterlacing. And here's the audio codec we want. Here's the bit rate for audio. And we want to do H.264 codec, and we want to put it in an MP4 container. And then the quality I selected was 20. 20 is, as far as I'm concerned, lossless. You can go all the way down to 0. 0 would be true lossless, but the file size is going to be huge. If you use 20, you can't tell a difference, and the file size is comparable to what you already have with your MTS files. And then the last thing you do is you just put the directory. In my case, I picked converted. So here's my original folder that I put on the desktop, and here's the converted folder. Again, this can be anything. It can be a network directory, it could be another drive, whatever. You put it in there. And then here's the variable. It's just telling Windows, hey, name it the same thing that the MTS file was named. And then on the next line you put pause so that it'll stop when you're done. And then if you've got your MTS files in here and your source directory, and you've got your resultant directory created and empty, all you got to do is just double click on the bat file, and it'll execute the batch script, and there it is. It's doing its thing. You can see the frames are counting, and it'll just keep it'll do this for every single MTS file that you've got in that directory. Okay, So I went ahead and paused it and started it back up again. And you can see it went ahead and did the conversions for the files, the two MTS files that I had in that directory. And like I said, pause at the end will make it just stop, and it won't close the command prompt window. So you can, if you want to go back and look at the results and see if there were any errors or anything. Sometimes there might be little errors right here if there were some imperfections in the original MTS, but you know, when it does that, the resultant videos are still playable, and I haven't noticed any problems. So at this point, the videos are done, and you can see in the converted folder now I have two brand new MP4 files. One issue that you're going to experience probably if you want to put these in a media server of some kind is that the dates are for your new MP4s are going to be for today, every single one of them. So if you want to organize your home video directory on your media server by date, it's not going to work. And plus, it's nice to know when they were originally recorded. I tried to use ffmpeg. Apparently, they've got a, you know, you can plug in a, oh, by the way, this is the instructions to install. And plus, you know, you don't have to do it in a batch file. If you want, you can just do it one file at a time. Maybe if you only have one or a few, you can also do that. You just got to make sure that you change the directory to ffmpeg inside the command prompt when you open it up. I usually, and depending on where the directory is located, you may want to right-click and run as administrator so that you don't have any issues with Windows telling you it can't open a file for whatever reason. But then you're going to want to change the directory to wherever you installed ffmpeg. And then here is where you would go and enter in your script. Plug it right in there, and then it would just do the single file and put it wherever you said. But as I was saying, you know, apparently there is an option that you can put in here for metadata. If you wanted to copy metadata from the original MTS over to the resultant MP4, I tried some different solutions with that. I couldn't get it to work. Instead, I found there's another program called exiftool. So this is real easy to install. You just come here and download the zip, and same kind of thing. Just I went ahead and just put it on the desktop. You don't have to do anything fancy like we did with ffmpeg. And then I renamed it so that it's just exiftool.exe. And I think I've already done these. You can see, yeah, I've already modified the date. I copied it over from the original MTS to these. But if I had not, it would say January 9th. Nevertheless, I can do it again just so you can see that it does in fact work. But the way you would do that is you're also, you know, you may have 1,000 or more. So you're going to want to do it with a batch script. So same kind of thing, you know, that we did with the ffmpeg, except now we're going to use a different program, exiftool. And the options are just, you're telling it, hey, tag from file, all of them, you know, every single MTS that we have in that directory. And we specifically want to modify the date modified field in the metadata for the MP4s that we created. And then here is the directory. And then pause. So you do that. You've got your originals in here. And again, They could be on your home network. They could be on another drive. You just, wherever they're located, all you have to do is just update that information in your batch script. Since mine are located here on my desktop, that's how mine's configured. And then you just double click on it. And you can see it comes back and tells you it was updated on the 2 files, and that's all there is to it. It's done. And you'll be able to go down the list and see that date modified has been copied over from your original MTS to your new MP4s. You can load them into your Plex server or any other media server and sort by the date that they were created. And that's all I've got. If you've got any questions or comments, I'd be happy to hear them. Thanks for your time. Bye.